So if you guys remember, a few weeks ago I talked about what Batman villains I could see not only going good, but staying good. In that video, I also talked about, like, wanting to do a sequel to it involving the second biggest known Rogues Gallery, and most popular Rogues Gallery, Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery. So, yeah, as promised, I finally got around to doing this the Spider-Man video. So, yeah, now let's get something straight. We have seen a lot of Spider-Man's rogues go good, and some of them have stayed good, or at the very least have kind of skirted the line. Obviously, to name a few, Morbius, who has bounced back and forth depending on what the writers need, Venom, the most popular and now being an anti-hero, and Punisher. Yeah, for those who don't know, he started out as a Spider-Man villain. Like, that was the original intention, was that the Punisher was meant to be a Spider-Man villain, like a dope just a dope-looking Spider-Man villain, and then they made him into something else. Yeah. Yeah. So, and also you have a few others who have kind of skirted that line as well. Among those being Sandman, who was a hero, and even like Reserve Avenger at one point. Then you have, of course, Dr. Octopus, who was the superior Spider-Man. So, it's interesting to note that a lot of Spider-Man's villains do have the potential, more than Batman's villains, I would dare say, to be better people and be heroes. A lot of them have, a lot of them are, decent human beings. Some of them are decent and have, like, some rules to them. So, I kind of see that there's more possibility of a lot of Spider-Man's villains going straight, or at the very least going anti-hero, or just, kind of being peaceful or at peace with Spider-Man, kind of like the Flash rogues. So let's go through a few villains that could actually work as heroes. Let's actually, before we do, now that I think about it, which villains are going to stay villains? Obviously, Green Goblin. He has done Norman Osborn. There's nothing Norman can do to stay. I mean, there was a point with the whole Gold Goblin thing, but we all knew that was going to change. Also, I never liked Gold Goblin. I never liked the whole Gold Goblin thing. It seemed like there was a solid attempt to make Norman Osborn a good guy, but we all knew it wasn't going to last. That's the thing. We all knew Green Goblin is too much of a marketable character and Spider-Man's arch nemesis. It's like whenever they make Lex Luthor a good person, he's just gonna be bad. Because you can't have Superman without Lex Luthor. Or you can't have Spider-Man without Green Goblin. So yeah. Also, Norman didn't deserve it. Norman didn't deserve to be a good guy for a while. And by that I mean, he at no point deserved it. I mean, when you murder, your arch enemy's daughter, and also their first love, and also bury the, that person's aunt, you can go fuck yourself on it. Also, when he took over in power, during Dark Reign, he essentially, started a war with Asgard, and also became almost like a borderline dictator trying to manipulate the country. I don't know about you, but that didn't sound like a reasonable guy to be a hero. Anyway, and I know someone's going to say, oh, what about the Goblin? It's just the Goblin inside Norman. Yeah, no. Even when Peter, during the Dan Slott run, Peter separated the Goblin from Norman, and he still desperately wanted to be with the Goblin, even leading on to him merging with the Carnage symbiote. So that can go out the window. As for another villain who I cannot see being a hero, as much as it pains me because he's my favorite Spider-Man villain, Dr. Octavius. He just can't help himself. We've seen this before multiple times where the dude just cannot, for the life of himself, cannot in any way, shape, or form be a bad guy because his ego keeps getting in the way no matter how hard he tries. So there's that. Then you have the Jackal, who is all kinds of fucked up. Carnage. That's not... Though, I am interested to see what Eddie Brock is going to do now as Carnage. Yeah, for those who don't know, Eddie Brock has lost the Venom symbiote and now has bonded with the Carnage symbiote. Because that's going to be great, and that's going to be a good idea. There are a few others, but let's move on now to the characters I could totally see being good or anti-heroes at best. Starting off are some characters who Miles has befriended. The Scorpion, Mac Gargan. Mac Gargan has done he hasn't done anything horrendous and has actually tried to be good a few times over. But the thing of it is that he's just kind of a two-bit hood who's actually befriended Miles in the Miles Morales comic. He's actually shown that he can be a good person, even saving Miles from Carnage. He's also admitted that he really enjoys hanging out with Miles. So, yeah. Again, that might have changed. I've only got the first 3 volumes of the new Miles Morales run. Chris has been sending me those, so we'll have to wait for Volume 4. But yeah, for as it stands, Mac Gargan and Miles and Mac actually like each other, and Mac has kind of shown that, like, I don't want to do this forever. Like, this is taxing on my body. Another character who I've always said would be fun as a cool like guy who turned a new leaf, Herman Schultz, the Shocker. The Shocker has always been like a character I enjoy seeing because he reminds me so much of Captain Cold, where he's this villain who is a genius, but he's also gets in his own damn way so much. He also has his own code of ethics. He tries his best. And I think, honestly, Shocker could easily go, you know what, fuck it, I don't want to do this no more. You know, I just, like, how about I join the Thunderbolts or some shit? So the Shocker is definitely one. Another one who has bantied on the side of good a few times, the Rhino. The Rhino, honestly, I could see the Rhino turning a new leaf if he wasn't so entrenched in being a Spider-Man villain. I could totally see the Rhino being a good character. I could see the Rhino, and he's friends with Miles and has a kind of, he doesn't really have a standoffish feel. He does have like an on-again, off-again friendship with Peter. So Rhino would be, I think Oleski could be, that's Rhino's real name, Oleski. He could totally be I could totally see Rhino turn over a new leaf. Another guy I can't, though I will say, Kraven, Chameleon, not on the list. They're too entrenched in being just horrible people. Same with Vulture. I feel like Vulture actually could go either way. I think Toombs can go either way. He has shown that he can be a bastard, but also, like, he genuinely cares for what's left of his family, and he has also been like, I'm an old man, and I don't want to get punched by Spider-Man no more. So I could totally see, I could absolutely see Toombs as another who could turn a new leaf, but he's so entrenched in his ways, it's hard to do that. Sandman, as we've talked about, Sandman can banty between good and evil all the time. I think it would be cool to see him go good again. I would love to see, the Lizard has also bantied between. It depends on if Kurt Connors is in control of the Lizard body. So I don't know if that counts or not. For others, I would dare say that Electro. See, a lot of Spider-Man's villains can easily go good, at least for a short time. Electro is another guy who's actually tried to retire from being a bad guy, but life just got in the way again. And I'm talking about Max Dillon. Max could easily turn over a new leaf with just a little guidance. It's always been mentioned that Max has been mentally ill. Like, he's always had a bit of a mental illness. Not because through the movies, but, like, I remember some comic, I think it was a Michelini comic, that's kind of hinted that the electrical currents in his brain have shifted his mental stability a lot. So Electro would be a fun one. I think Electro would be another solid one. I think he could easily go good, and yeah, I think also a few other of Spider-Man's minor villains could easily turn over a new leaf, such as the Grizzly. I could see White Rabbit, actually, no. After Zeb Wells' run, I'm so sick of White Rabbit. That one, I don't care if she goes good or not. I don't care. But those are the ones that really come to mind for Spider-Man villains turning over a new leaf. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what Spider-Man villains could you see staying heroes? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.